Hello, I'm Kim Malinowski, poet and author, and one of the hosts at the Terra Nouveau Lyceum. Uh, I admit that no one showed up to our little, I guess you would call it a vigil. I don't know. I didn't know what to call it. I had to do something for Sir Salman Rushdie. Um, he's meant a lot to me, even though I have not always read all of his work. His work came out during the time that I had aphasia um, very severely, and I couldn't read or write. What I do remember is reading Harun and the Sea of Stories, and that was when my brain wasn't damaged. So I have a much more colorful, different view than I do now, and not in a bad way, but in a way that makes me sometimes feel uncomfortable when I'm rereading. Sort of like I see the ghost of Kim. It is an interesting feeling. I am reading some of the other works. Amazon, I know, and probably some other places that are more like indie bookstores have sales going on, just like in support, right? If nothing's, we have to buy his books and we have to get them read. If somebody is so taken aback, so offended or hurt or whatever the true motive is, even if it's not the fatwa, then we have to read this work. It means it's that much more important. And the way he lives is much more important to me as a writer and author and poet who knows she's always in danger. We are not in danger. Not in America, obviously, right? The USA, this happened in New York. He did not want a lot of fanfare, did not want a lot of security. And the quote that resonated with me the most, which was actually with somebody personal on Facebook that had spoken to him, said that he didn't want to live in fear. And I really respect that idea of being aware, the risks, but not fearing and not choosing to live in fear, especially, but choosing to go about, do your thing, write what you need to write. And if it offends somebody, it offends somebody. And if it costs your life, it was worth it. And that is a writerly type of bravery that I have to commend. I have to hold my heart to. I have to say thank you, because if I ever live up to that ideal, I will be blessed and I'll have him to thank. Now, I have had a candle burning all day, which I'm about to show you, which probably is a little bit too bright, but it is a healing candle. And it's considered a prayer candle, but please, if you are anything against it, the universe, it doesn't have to be God, it doesn't have to be, I happen to be a neo-pagan witch. So I'm pretty open. So please, even if you have no faith and you just have faith within your heart of whatever you believe, please just know I am going to read what's on it. I feel the healing powers of the white light and I have drawn closer. Okay, so that's not necessarily, like I said, religious, but it is a sort of a call, if you would. And I call it a call to arms, because as writers, more and more, we are being called to arms. It is like World War I. It is like World War II. It is like Caesar. It is like 2000 BC. It is time for us as writers to write whatever truth we believe is a truth and get it out there. And I say that with no caveats. Writers are allowed their opinions, and maybe not everyone likes them. In fact, most people probably don't like them. But Rushdie makes it very clear that it doesn't matter. Writing is writing. And if it pisses people off, it's probably good. And it makes you think, which is even a better thing. Now, if this lighter, I'm going to try to actually use matches. But the lighter I'm putting up right now is probably going to be how I do this. I have matches that are magical. They are dipped in lavender. I usually use them for rituals. Forgive me if you don't believe in rituals. I do. I usually break them. I'm gonna screw on the cap that is the nifty difty where I strike. And regardless if this strikes or not, I wish peace and healing. And this is positive energy. You can see that it's blue. It's really, you can sort of see it. It's glittery and sparkly. And it's from the throat chakra because I chose communication. The throat chakra is a center of communication. You'll be drawn to meet new and wonderful people and embrace experiences that will encourage your spiritual growth. And I plan to burn this all the way through for the collective, that whoever's watching, which I know several people had the events. This was very spur of the moment, just because the attack was spur of the moment, right? Okay. So wish of health, wish of love, and wish of healing. So it is. So I toast to Salman Rushdie. Yes. Okay. Good health. Good health. I'm going to put this aside so I don't burn anything down I have before. Don't tell. Sadly, you get to hear what I've written. Usually that's really good and I can be proud of it. But this is like a list of like random things. And I'm going to have some random quotes. Okay. He taught me to tell and know story, and Haroon and the Sea of Stories. How do you know story? What is story? And yet I learned in meta-narrative class with him exactly what story was, how powerful story is, archetypes, how important they are, naming people like really for their archetype and their role in in the story. It seems very basic, but it's so folkloric and almost fairy tale. And I have to admit that probably is what inserted me into my current path of redoing fairy tales and redoing tellings and putting stories within stories within stories and layering my poetry. And I have him to thank. I mean, like, you think about it, and who's influenced you? You know, write about it where you see this posted underneath. Who influenced you? Who has caused your writing to be the way it is? You know, I didn't even think about it until I saw the news and I was like, no. And then I was like, why am I saying no? And it became so personal because I feel such attachment, because these were the stories that I had right before I lost story. And I lost story. The only thing I could do during my 5 years was paint my nails. I could barely communicate with aphasia in terms of speaking. You can hear a lisp sometimes. It's gotten a lot better. And you can also know that I don't speak exactly the way some people speak, in a very linear way. I speak in the way I learned myself, by myself. And, you know, like, he sort of gave me that. I knew that there was a story within a story, and I was going on a journey. And even if I can only paint my nails, and even if I can wear pretty skirts and name those things as their archetypes, you know, maybe that's a better story of how I talk about aphasia. You know, I met this person. This person's name was, speech. She left me. You know, I mean, like, that sort of thing. Like, he definitely taught that sort of being. And that's in several of his works that I've been studying. So I did doing that. And I fell in love with ideas of his freedom. I said that at the very beginning. There's always such fear. And I feel the fear just because of the situations I am, where I am in the world. I've had like, I think we're at like 6 near-death experiences within the last year. And I mean near death, I mean like ramming head on into a car underneath the tunnel. There's no way out except going backwards and no one was there. Like, so like those unimaginable things, those things that you're not supposed to survive. And yet, Rusty, he lived with that every day. It's not like my 6 times. Oh my gosh. It's like facing these fears every day and refusing to live with them. He could have had, lots of security. He could have like built up walls. He could have had guards. And he didn't want to raise his children that way, which I really respect. And he didn't want to live his life that way, which I really respect. And like I said, if I can be as brave as that, then I really wish I could. I mean, how fabulous would it be to, even if you feel that fear and know that somebody is looking after at you, to know, my writing matters too much. I'm not giving up. I mean, like it's a brilliant sort of loving idea because it really shows the love that he has. Now, I do have a few quotes because, like you do, you gotta have quotes. So I guess one of my favorites that I've looked up is from the Satanic Verses, which I have not finished, but I have downloaded because, man, I'm going to do this. It's a poet's work. And it goes, dot, 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 ellipses, to name the unnameable, to point at frauds, to take sides, start arguments, shape the world, and stop it from going to sleep. If that is not a battle cry, I do not know what is. And I think I would like that on my grave. God, I love that one. And then also from the Satanic Verses, now I know what a ghost is. Unfinished business. That's what. Thought that was brilliant. I'm going through, I made a list on Goodreads. I've been looking for several really great nonfiction as well from his essays. And I did find a few. From his collected nonfiction, I'm just going to read a paragraph. This one has like 4. It's probably, a good part of a chapter. I read it and I thought it was astounding. So you will find it on Goodreads towards the bottom. The fundamentalist seeks to bring down a great deal more than buildings. Such people are against to offer just a brief list, freedom of speech, a multi-party political system, universal adult suffrage, accountable government, Jews, homosexuals, women's rights, pluralism, secularism, short skirts, dancing, beardlessness, evolutionary theory, sex. They are tyrants, not Muslims. And he goes on through several paragraphs about the beliefs and everything. And this is probably towards the end of the quote. The fundamentalist believes that we believe in nothing. In his worldview, he has his absolute certainties, while we are sunk in spiritic indulgences. To prove him wrong, we must first know that he is wrong. We must agree on what matters. Kissing in public places, bacon sandwiches, disagreement, cutting-edge fashion, literature, generosity, water, a more equitable distribution of the world's resources, movies, music, freedom of thought, beauty, love. These will be our weapons, not by making war, but by the unafraid we choose to live, shall we defeat them. How to defeat terrorism? Don't be terrorized. Don't let fear rule your life, even if you are scared. And that is Salman Rushdie, Step Across This Line, collected nonfiction, 1992 to 2002. And I have to admit that I would tear up at those quotes. It's just, amazing to me. Like, that is what we have to do. The choice we have in our life is to either live or not live. I hope we all choose to live. I wish Salman Rushdie much love, all of the best. All of my love, definitely, and I hope all of yours as well. And I will be burning this candle with this probably for the next week at all of my classes. I'm gonna have to teach Salman Rushdie now. I usually teach fairy tales. I forgot that there are so many elements elsewhere and in his work. All right, take care. Be well. I'm going to blow out both of these candles now. Make sure I don't burn myself. First, the healing, which will also be burning all week. And how about I don't kill myself? Yeah, so there was a spark. So that means it works, right? When you burn yourself, it means it works. That's what I say. So it is. Be well.